The voluntary sector on this island is very much the lifeblood of the island, and without all our charities, voluntary organisations and clubs, we'd lose the richness which makes living here such a privilege. But we have a problem, and the problem is that those people who have given their time tirelessly over tens of years are now at a stage where they're looking to hand the baton on to a younger generation or to people who have not previously been involved in charities and clubs, so that we can maintain the strength of the in excess of 60 different organisations which provide the beating heart of this community. So the purpose of this video is to ask people to consider whether not just volunteering, but also membership of our clubs and organisations, because frankly, if we don't grip the challenge now, over time, all these organisations will reach a critical point where they're not sustainable. And that's not something I want to see, and I know it's not something the rest of the community want to see. So this video is just to show people how much people here care and what they're prepared to do for each other. And it's a very fitting start to this if we take a short ride on the train, the only train in the Channel Islands.
Well, from a railway point of view, volunteers are vitally important. It's important that we have as many as possible to spread the load as far as we can to ensure that the railway keeps going. With the Island Band, it's slightly different because as well as sort of volunteering, they actually join the band and get enjoyment from playing in the band and get enjoyment from performing. It's remarkable how rewarding it is to volunteer, and particularly with the railway, when you see the enjoyment that all the passengers get from it. It's a really big bonus for the whole island, and personally I can see that it's very important for lots of visitors. That it's a big draw for the island.
Next we have Alan Niven, who has only been living here a few years, but has really put himself at the heart of our volunteering community, and his energy and enthusiasm is inspiring.
When we arrived on the island, we volunteered, which led us into a great way of integrating on the island life, and also it allowed us to have something in the community that we got a really good joy back out of doing. I started off in the Connaught here, but on Alderney there was a thing called the Spirit of Alderney, and they were asking for volunteers. We applied, we were doing Meals on Wheels, and from that it led into me being offered a full-time job here, commissioning up their new generators and becoming head of maintenance. So it was quite a kind of story of being involved in Connaught. I would only say one thing: do it. It is such a joyful thing to do when you see what you're bringing into the community, how the people in the community integrate with you, and the joy that you get of doing something for a small island community.
Next we have Donald Hughes, who is Mr. Adaptability. Whenever organisations need an extra pair of hands or a little bit of support, he's always the first one to step up. And that's in addition to all the other organisations in which he plays a full part.
I don't think the organisations, particularly on Alderney, would survive without volunteers. There are many organisations, some of which I'm involved with. The Bell Ringers, Alderney Bell Ringers, Horticultural Society. These sort of organisations exist for the members to enjoy, and hopefully for the community to enjoy.
And then we have Barbara Benfield, who can only be described as an institution within this community. Somebody else who's spent all their life helping others. And she does that through the Age Concern, which supports our most senior residents, through a charity shop which funds it, and pretty much everything else to do with our senior members of the community. So she's somebody they can always go to, and she will always respond.
It wouldn't happen without the generosity of people's time and effort and support throughout the year or constantly. The shop is run by volunteers, the store is sorted by volunteers, aids and equipment are picked up and delivered by volunteers, the social centre's run by volunteers. Everything we do is run by volunteers.
Alderney Week, which is at the very heart of this community, couldn't be delivered without the support of volunteers, and they help to make this the most enjoyable social event, not just for the people who live here, but for the people who choose to come here on holiday. And Wayne and Vicky have taken on huge responsibility, which they do in their own inimitable style, with enthusiasm, and we cannot really express our level of gratitude to everything they do.
If we didn't have volunteers, the actual Alderney Week wouldn't actually happen. From people doing an event, organising an event, people actually doing a bar shift, it's really important, and we do rely on them, and we do need as many people as possible.
Yeah, I mean, we're only a small team ourselves, and there's only so much we can do. We have people help every year. The same people come every single year, but we always need more volunteers just to help do little events, run stalls. The cavalcade's a big day. We need lots and lots of people for cavalcade. All the events during the week, people always join in. Even some people just like to come and help pick up litter at the end of the day. Other people are happy to put out chairs. Some people actually want to run events completely themselves, which is absolutely fantastic. It's something I've always loved. I mean, since a kid, I've always enjoyed Alderney Week. Always thought I'd like to be involved somehow, and the opportunity came along to actually take over and run it for a while. So we jumped at it. You get so much pleasure out of seeing people happy. It's great.
It's good fun, and you get to meet new people that you possibly wouldn't actually get to meet if you weren't helping or volunteering or running an event. It's good fun.
And finally, jumble sales are so important to this island, because it's through those jumble sales that a great deal of what we do is financed in the voluntary sector. So anybody can have a jumble sale. They're dealt with through the Island Hall, but it's an opportunity not just to support the charities, but for people to get together. And it's part of that community feel, and that's why it's so important and has been for generations.
Volunteers on Alderney are crucial. With the population figures that we have here, it's practically impossible to pay people to run something like a tennis club, and we are totally and utterly reliant on volunteer help from people from all different walks of life who want to help the island sport and mental health, and it is crucial for the survival of such clubs that we have volunteers.
So what I hope I've done is to inspire people to come to the Charities Fair on the 18th of November, when most of these organisations will be represented. And all they want to say to you is, this is what we do, this is what we offer, this is how we support our community. And what I'm hoping is that we can encourage you to either become a member or to actually volunteer, and to draw you in. The ladies of the lifeboat will be selling their fantastic homemade cakes and supplying you with copious amounts of tea. So please, it shows them how much you care about what they do, and for my purposes, this is a great opportunity for us to all come together and build a sustainable future for our voluntary sector. And thank you for watching. But one final thought is that this video would not have been possible had it not been for the efforts of David Earle. This is the second video he's done for me, which he does with the highest degree of professionalism, and he does that on a voluntary basis. So to do this commercially would have been a very expensive exercise. But if you want an example of somebody who cares about the community, then this video is testament to that.